Fuck it. That's living NLP, baby.
That's right.
Was that Krusty
Good
the
enough.
Clown? Wasn't it Krusty the Clown? It's not just good. It's good enough.
Welcome to the Living NLP podcast. My name is Nicholas Rave.
I'm Bart Simpson. Morgan Lane Bennett. Hello.
Don't have a cow, man.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're here to talk shop about NLP and hypnosis. The way we do this show is generally once a week we get together and chat about how we've been living NLP. Specifically, we come up with an anecdote each about some way that we've been using NLP or hypnosis principles, either with clients or in our own life. Then we also have a quote from something we've been studying or something that we love that's a jumping off point to have a discussion about NLP and hypnosis concepts. And then we answer questions. So today we got to keep this a little short because I have a client at 2:30. So let's jump in. You want to go first?
Plenty of time. So you're talking anecdote style?
Let's do anecdotes first.
Okay, cool. So because mine are fairly smallish, I think. We'll see. So you said how we're applying it in our daily lives and in our work.
Yes.
I actually think that might be a fun place for us to actually bring two anecdotes. One from our daily life, which will simply be this. I got a parking ticket, totally my own fault, because I didn't read a sign, didn't get back in time, like 3 minutes late, the guy's down the thing, and I got my parking ticket. And I said, what an asshole, about myself. Mm-hmm. And then I went about my fucking day. Mm-hmm. And as I was driving away, I said to myself, I'm really proud of the way I got that parking ticket, because what am I going to do? Yell at the poor bastard whose job it was to keep me from breaking the law, or be mad for the rest of the day about some shit, or did something happen to me? And I went, oh, okay, well, lesson learned. Yeah. Moving on. And I was like, oh, I said to myself, I'm proud of the way I just got that parking ticket. Good for me. Like, I'm not like, it was 2 minutes later, I'm like moving on with my day. You know what I mean? So
I love the idea of how did you get a parking ticket? Not how did it happen, but what process did you go through in order to receive the parking ticket?
How well did you get that? No,
exactly.
How well did you get it?
Yes, I love that. That's awesome.
So, that's a little side job. And the other main thing, which I was going to talk about last time, and I see this a lot, and I've been having it with my. It's been a little bit of a sticking point with the kind of people I work with who are like super critical, very motivated, who then burn out and then are now frustrated, and their fuel source is a mess, and what used to work doesn't work anymore, etc. Mm-hmm. And they're coming to see me, and because I work on a guarantee, like somebody else I know, I need to know what the end is so that I can say, oh, here's when you got your result. One of my favorite things is how will you know when you got your result, which is a good question, which is often one of those things that goes, what? How will I know when I got what I want?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then it ends up going to, well, what do I want? And because they're so sure about what they don't want. But now time to set a goal. We're trying to set a goal. And a lot of times I'll be like, I mean, you've heard SMART goals, right? Because all these people have taken every course in the world and they all start with SMART goals.
Yep.
Which is why they fucking hate them, because they have failed nearly every time they've tried to set them. And they are so like, SMART goals are. So my anecdote today was titled, SMART goals are stupid. Someone told me that. And I was like, really? Because, and then finally after an hour, it's like, well, because I'm afraid to commit. Oh, okay, right? Because I've done so many courses and it just sounds so cheesy and stupid. And I'm like, cool, well, if it works, we can call it whatever you want. We can make an acronym for stupid, as long as it's specific and timed and understandable and precise and, whatever the fuck it would be. Like, I don't care. Call it what you want. I don't want to like trigger you with some Tony Robbins words, but we need to know where you're going, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so just like so much of people's resistance to setting a goal is what I end up is almost one of the bigger hurdles that I find myself facing with people because my whole thing is, well, I'm here to guarantee that. But if you don't know what it is, then how are you going to even live a life? So SMART goals are stupid. Well, I'll keep it kind of short. You can bounce back and forth. We'll see what you have to say about that.
There are some principles that are non-negotiable. And begin with the end in mind is one of those that it's another cliche way of saying it is if you don't know where you're going, then wherever you end up, that's where you planned to get.
Right. Yeah.
So I think I often look for linchpins in success, like the fulcrum or the point at which if I get this, everything else is going to fall into place. And setting clear intentions is one of the most important parts, arguably the most important part of intervention or coaching or particularly coaching, although I think it's important with therapy too. And you mentioned something kind of in passing that I think is a really important linchpin as a coach or a NLP, whatever the fuck you are, that is guarantees.
Yeah. Oh, that's so scary.
It's a ballsy move. And Jorgen does this too, right?
Not for me. Who? Yeah. It's not scary for me, but as soon as you say the word guarantee, people go, oh, like I thought I was just going to waste more of your time and more of my money, but this is going to get real?
Yes, that's the thing that's so funny about offering a guarantee. So coaches, NLP practitioners, master practitioners, whatever, those of you listening, I encourage you to think about how would you have to change your business to guarantee the one-on-one work that you do with people, to guarantee the results that you produce.
And it'll certainly make it, for me anyways, it made my sales pitches congruent as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, you got nothing to lose. So like, it's all on me. I will take all of this.
Yeah.
So I'm here. There's no way you should say no to this unless you just want to have the problem that you have. And then if I can help you see that, then cool too. And you can get around that. But like, I've had a client tell me recently that they were talking to someone that I had spoken to. And she said the guarantee scared her off. Her friend told her that. And I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it does happen.
That's the thing I was going to say is you would think that if you're like, it's a no-brainer, it's a guarantee, well then of course everyone that you talk to is going to sign up. And that is surprisingly not the case. And what I'll suggest to you is that if you do consider adopting this methodology of offering a guarantee for your results, you need to make sure you have enough rapport. Build rapport with your clients first. Get into their model of the world. Let them know that you understand the problem, that you understand what they've struggled with, and that they trust you enough before you even get to having the conversation about the guarantee, because it will often scare them more than saying you charge $5,000 an hour or whatever.
Right. Sometimes I'll put it in right at the beginning to like perk them up, like way in the beginning, like, okay, so here, like, it's gonna be great because if we're gonna work together, I just want you to know, like, I work on a guarantee. It means you're gonna get exactly what we're talking about. So let's, sometimes I've done that. I'll experiment with. I've been doing much better work with unconscious rapport lately, which has been nice.
Yeah.
And yeah. So anyway, it was a mix between the guarantee, like they don't care because they don't even know what they want.
Right.
They're scared to give themselves a chance to dream because of past failures, because of that's not how they run. They run on what they don't want. And they ended up, I don't want to be a failure. I don't want to let my parents down. I don't want to be a loser in the corporation. I don't want to whatever. Okay, well, what do you want? I mean, so often that just what do you want is a stumper for the smartest, most successful people that people who are smarter, more successful than me don't know what the hell they want.
Yeah. Well, the good news about this dilemma that you run into about not knowing what they want and not wanting to hope again, having been disappointed so many times that they're scared to hope.
They've broken all these promises of themselves.
Yeah. The good news about it is that in the process of enrollment, you have a thing to work on already.
Right.
That is the coaching that you need to start.
Between like integrity, like showing up on time. When people flake on me, it's like, I used to take it personally, and then the 4 agreements kicked in. But then it was like, is this the problem? This thing you've done to this poor person, me, I was just trying to help you. Look at what you've done to me. Right? Or are you not able to? Yeah. So it really does become the thing where you're like, see, this is why you don't have what you want. It's why you feel lost, is because you're not giving yourself a chance. You are currently unable to open the window to the future, because your imagination is all about the bad and the past and everything that's horrible. But your imagination can also think about, what do you want? I want relaxation. Cool. What does that mean? It means I'm relaxed. Yeah, but when you're relaxed, what's happening? Well, I'm relaxing. Okay, well, that's why you're so tense. You know what I mean? So
one of my best business coaching mentors had this phrase that he said: you never want a prospective client to ask the question, do I want to start coaching with you? You only ever want them to ask the question, do I want to continue coaching with you? In other words, the minute that you start having the conversation with somebody, you are already in the coach. You're giving them a sample of what it's like to work with you in the first 15 minutes of the time that you're spending with each other.
And this person's like, I'm really thinking, making a lot of changes, even though we're like 3 calls into just 2 calls too many into the intake. And she's like, but I've having much more interesting thoughts about things, and things have changed. So yeah, it's there. It's just some people are so scared of having what they want, of the comfort zone of pain and misery and stress and whatever, and it's about giving them the key and unlocking all that.
Well, some of it's also the unconscious mind has an uncanny ability to intuit what you're going to have to deal with in order to get where you want to go.
Right.
And if you set an intention that's huge, their unconscious can already sense, oh shit, in order to get there, I'm going to have to deal with this and this and
somebody told me, they're like, yeah, I want all of that, but I don't want to go into my past and unpack all that stuff. I'm like, well, sorry. Unless you want to contaminate Oz with the land of Oz with all your evil monkeys flying around.
Yeah.
Go ahead. So,
okay, my turn.
Yeah, in the interest of time.
Yeah. So my anecdote, I was talking to a client about happiness, and we had a really interesting conversation. I'm probably not going to share everything we talked about, but we got into this, the work of this researcher named Shawn Achor, who wrote a book called The Happiness Advantage. And one of the things that he said is, if you stop a child who is playing and having fun, and they're in joy right then in that moment, and you stop a child and you say, hey, are you happy? Most children don't understand the question. They at the very least, they actually have to stop what they're doing. They have to stop feeling joy and pleasure and make a mental assessment about their life, which most kids can't even do. Adults are much better at it, to decide whether or not you're happy. And this led him to suggest that happiness is both a shitty goal and not a feeling. That happiness is not a feeling. Joy is a feeling. But happiness is a mental assessment. And because it's so ambiguous, it's so easy. When you ask someone, are you happy, like in your life? Their ability to answer that question is going to be mostly about what's happening right now in this moment. So this guy was talking about the idea of, well, I think I'm pretty good at happy. I think I'm pretty good at being happy. But my wife, she's not very good she doesn't know how to be happy. And what I was trying to do was, what I was trying to do was get him to let go of the idea that happiness is even something you should worry about. Because Shawn Achor talks about the idea that happiness is a habit. Happiness is, if anything, it's a collection of different ways of thinking about and using your mind, which sounds very NLP to me, that either you call this conglomeration of different behaviors happiness, and you can train your brain to to run these patterns in a fairly short amount of time. He has a pretty good amount of research on this. So yeah, I was just thinking about in terms of goals, like a lot of people are, whether consciously or unconsciously, focused on, well, I want to be happier. I want to be happier. And when I was having this conversation with him, I realized I haven't even thought about happiness in my own life in like years.
I rarely have I heard anybody, when I'm asking them what they want, is I want to be happier.
I want to be happy, right? Like as an end state.
Right. You just said happier, which is like I was like, yeah, that's cool. Be happier.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you have whatever that is and you want more, then let's figure out what that is. But then like, I can make up some kind of happy. Is my happy? Someone else is happy. You read the Darren Brown book, right?
No, the Stoicism one.
It's the one called Happy?
I never got around to it.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, like, a lot of the same stuff where so I highly recommend it. It's good. If I had it on my shelf, I'd get it, but it's an Audible thing. It's good. And it's the Stoics and just this how to bring that to your life without being.
I think the reason is I heard him talk about it in the book in several podcasts, so I kind of felt like I got the condensed version of it. But
it's a huge book.
It's on my list.
Yeah, man. I mean, am I happy? Yeah, someone asked me a while ago, like, hey, man, you happy? I'm like, happy enough. Just kind of like, yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah, I'm happy enough. I mean, I don't feel like I'm not happy. But I'm not like making myself unhappy trying to be more happy.
Right.
Like, I have fun. I go up and down, but like, again, I've said it before, like bliss ninnies. I don't want to be a bliss ninny either, but I'm like, it's all good, man. Everything's great. But yeah, I think if people understood even what their own happiness is, like they think they have other people's happiness. I got to be what my parents told me happy was, or, one of my greatest pleasures is to help people go, oh, I can be myself, or whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah.
Those people who are really, and I've worked with a lot of people from the Asian and Indian cultures. And man, they do not get a chance to be anything other than what they're supposed to be for a long time until hopefully they come see me. And then they go, oh, fuck. I can listen to punk rock and, be gay or whatever the fuck it is that they want to do that's different from I need to go into the machine and do the thing to make my parents happy, even though they're not happy. Right.
Yeah. Well, you said a word there that I think the point of this anecdote is in your own life and with your clients, happiness is not a very useful concept, but what I tend to focus on a lot more in my own life and with clients is the word pleasure. Pleasure is, there it is.
That's where my quote's coming from.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, fuck it. Go ahead.
Should we get to it?
Let's do it.
Although, check this out. When I was...
that was a killer segue.
Nice. Well, how about this for a little callback? I was reading this book apparently when I went to go see Darren Brown opening night for his show at the thing.
Nice. Live on Broadway.
Yeah. Well, this was the one off Broadway. This is the very first night of the first time he came, like when they were still workshopping it. I went to opening night of that, which is kind of a trip because there were some fuck ups. You're like, it's real. It's real. Like the painting he made, when he paints the thing upside down and he paints Marilyn Monroe or whoever it is. He was done and it was like intermission and all of a sudden the thing goes and like this wet paint all over the wood floor in this little theater. I was like, it was classic.
That's good.
Okay, so to come back to whatever you were going to say was probably this. Fear of pleasure is the fear of pain. Not only the physical pain that pleasure evokes in the contracted and rigid body, but the psychological pain of loss, of frustration, and of humiliation. In the course of growing up, we overcome these pains by suppressing our sadness, our fear, and our anger. In the process, we diminish our capacity for love, for joy, and for pleasure. By defending ourselves to pain, we deaden ourselves to pleasure.
Oh,
which is pretty much the whole jam right there.
Dude, like Alexander Lowen and like Milton Erickson to me, like right here, and Joseph Campbell. Those are like the three that I put in on that level of every time I listen to their stuff, I'm just like, I got nothing to add to that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
gorgeous.
It's like, okay, next quote, great. But I mean, it's so much of, so much of what you deal with people who can't feel anything, but they can feel pain. But it's just like a dull sort of overarching everything pain, but there's nothing else but that. And I'm like, yeah, because there was a pain before and you turned all the knobs down. You're like, I don't want to feel that pain. So, but the thing is, when you turn the knobs down, they both go down. You know what I mean? It's like, there's not an equalizer where you can like tweak the treble and leave the happy, but lose the pain. It's like when you go numb, it all goes numb, except for that kind of numb leans towards the side of displeasure.
Yeah.
Pain, because it sucks.
Yeah.
To be that way.
Yeah.
So even that numbness is bad.
Well, and you're also ignoring things, and those things keep getting worse. And so your unconscious keeps ramping up the pain to try to get your attention. So you have to numb yourself out even more. Whoop, are you there?
Right. Yeah, I am.
For a second.
Yeah, I think we're in the skippy-doodle world. Yeah, you numb yourself to, same with a junkie. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this is
right.
I can't be happy anymore. I can't. Yeah, and so. Like in the same way that like when you numb everything, it's generally bad. Like just because it's like it leans towards, this is not what I want.
Right.
In the same way I tell people when I do MER or whatever, when they've released the memories, when they can look back at their life that used to be bad and feel neutral, that at least that neutrality is good. Like in the same, like that same sort of, even that neutral is good because you can at least look back and go,
I like that.
Right. But that leans towards good because now at least that neutral is, man, that's better than wow. Okay, cool. At least I'm in the middle now and I can go here, which is different from just feeling nothing, which is leaning towards the pain. So, Alexander Lowen, highly recommend this book.
Pleasure's a good place to start.
You're always, the thumbnails are always you holding a book. So I'm holding the book. I think our first one was me holding the book.
Pleasure is a good place to start. Anything Alexander Lowen has written is pretty game changing, and he really fills in some important gaps for the way NLP is traditionally taught.
Oh yeah.
About the body and about you can sum it up. Your whole body is your brain, and you can't NLP your way around the reality that your consciousness arises out of your body, and every limiting belief you have exists somewhere in your body physically. I don't mean in some metaphysical woo-woo black bag kind of way. I mean physiologically, your beliefs are in your tissues.
Right.
And they manifest in your posture and the way you move your body or the way you don't move your body.
Totes. All right. Totes. Cool. Quotes. Next.
All right,
quote.
my turn. Okay, so one of my all-time favorite books on hypnosis and NLP.
Good one.
Training Trances by John Overdurf and Julie Silverthorn. Fabulous book. And there was there's this quote near the beginning that says, they were talking about Erickson's approach to hypnosis and talking about using trance to teach and train. And they said Erickson was very conversational and natural in his approach to hypnosis. It was his view that trance was all about learning how to go into trance. Our thought is, what if all learning is about trance? Now, when I was thinking about this, it just started me thinking even further about the idea that all communication, all effective communication is hypnosis. And if you, this is why learning hypnosis and learning NLP ends up being so universal for people, that there are excellent communicators out there who are great storytellers and they're already hypnotists. They just do it intuitively. There wasn't much more than that. I was just thinking about the idea of
they're all learning.
All learning is trance.
Right. And so, then there's like, you have a shitty teacher, You have a shitty class, you have a shitty subject, you have a shitty relationship to that. If you have a good teacher who gets you excited about something, then you're into it. You like them, you like it. It's all part of that. State dependent learning, all of that. God, did you watch any of the Altered Carbon?
Yeah, you seem like you're not enjoying it.
Did you see it? Well, did you see the first part where
I did. The state-dependent learning where he has to stab himself.
I got to get stabbed again so I can remember the fucking thing. Like, okay. Stab yourself harder, bro.
Your suspension of disbelief muscle is kind of having a hard time.
So I was believing that they were freezing people's brains and sticking them in these things, and all of a sudden he's like, I can't remember it unless I stab myself some more. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, Adrienne and I just had a conversation yesterday about that episode, and we're talking about how we thought that was cool.
Yeah, great.
And like I think obviously that's stupid. Like like I said, like as a hypnotist, there are easier ways to get there, but it's dramatic.
Yeah, well, that's my point. It was just like, okay, fine. So yeah. State dependent learning. Glad you saw that. I like the first season. It had some interesting concepts. Very dark towards the end.
Yeah, I loved it.
But I won't spoil any of the rest of it for you. Other than, no surprise that every movie in the future, 500 years from now, is about ba-dow, hiding behind boxes and shooting each other. And then when your bullets run out, it turns into a karate fight. No matter what planet you're on, that's all that anything is now. Is the only way to have drama and tension is it all ends up with a face punching and a sky beam and
sky beams.
Can't we do better than that? Oh my God, I'm usurping. You guys better talk about NLP on your next podcast.
I did. Yeah, I noticed that. Oh shit, I didn't bring up my questions. Here we go.
I don't even know if I have one. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, I got one. It's a long one.
Okay.
You got one first?
No. You can go ahead. I was just saying you have 18.
Okay, I found this somewhere and it's wordy, so I'm gonna read the whole thing and then we'll see if we can parse it. Yeah.
A wordy question? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I haven't actually read it. So one of my clients came in the other day saying that he wanted to improve his relationship with God. We've done a lot of work, a lot of other psychotherapy and hypnotic work before. We talked about some of his strengths in his relationship with God and where he identified that there were gaps. After entering more formal trance, I asked him to view a timeline of his life that would highlight all of the times when he was very much in connection with God, just being able to look at the highlights on the timeline. Okay, cool. I then asked him to add a bar graph on top of each one to show the strength of that connection. Interesting. Cool. Eventually, I asked him about where there were any gaps or times that he felt that his faith was not strong enough. And I'm hearing something about footsteps in the sand right now? Right. No, because he had asked for repair work. He said there weren't any, and that his connection was always there. It was just below his level of conscious awareness during those times. It was amazing. This is not a question. Yeah. It was amazing for him that it was quite an honor to be in the room with him during this work. Yet another experience that leads me to say my realization that traditional talk therapy would never have gotten to that realization. That's not a question.
What the fuck are you doing right now?
Yeah. Well,
so what is your question? Is that
somebody sent that to me and I was just like, oh, I grabbed it in a bunch of other ones and copy pasted it.
I don't know what the question would be. Other than great job finding someone's model and then giving them more of what they wanted.
I like it. I like the creativity of doing some work on the timeline. And then notice like the conclusion of it was a reframe. Like as they say, every NLP technique can be viewed as a combination of reframing and anchoring. So the healing ended up being a reframe around the illusion that this person had ever been in disconnection. Right. And so then he saw, oh no, it was always there. It was just below. This is that fucking story about walking on the beach and the sets of footprints, right?
Right. Yeah. It just reminds me of the woman who called me because she wanted me to help her talk to aliens. And I was like, cool, I can do that. What do you want to talk about? She goes, well, I want them to tell me what to do with my life. I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not gonna disempower you to I mean, you want to talk to some stuff, great, but I'm not gonna let your life be determined by how I elicit some voice in your head to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
While just saying, well, I can do that, and it can be good sometimes, but if you're coming from a place like, I don't know what to do, ask the alien, have the aliens tell me what to do. I can see how that could be good, but like, it didn't seem like it was coming from a place of empowerment for her. It was more like, I just want aliens to tell me what to do. It wasn't like, I'd love to get in touch with the aliens inside of me, and so that they could help guide my, you know what I mean? It's mostly like she just wanted aliens to tell her what to do. But so in the same way, like, if someone wants me to help them get in touch with God, cool, fine.
Yeah.
But is that going to be good for you? What are you going to get from that?
Yeah, you might do it a little ecology check, like you say, about is this a disempowering or an empowering thing? Right. I also liked the creativity of, what was it, a graph or something?
Bar graph, yeah. Or
the bar graph on top of each one to show the strength. I think that's cool. Like, I've seen, I know people, and I've experimented with this myself, of doing like visual hallucination as you're walking around in day-to-day life, whereas you walk up to somebody, you can have your unconscious mind project information about that person on a screen just beside them.
Didn't Homeboy do that?
Mark Cunningham does this, but I've seen some other people talk about different ways to do it. But you can have your unconscious display useful information about this person on a screen, like to the left and behind the person. So occasionally you can glance up at, like, just visualize a floating TV, like a big LCD screen up there, and like, what's on the screen, and just trust your unconscious to give you useful information.
Oh, your stock just went way down. Bye.
You can use it for rapport. Like, I've used it that way. It's like, where's your rapport? Is it sufficient? And you can have a graph on there, and it's like, no, it's not full yet.
We should make Google Glasses.
Yeah. I don't. Who needs Google Glasses? Hypnotists have been doing that for years.
Or like Terminator.
Yeah. Well, being a video gamer from my past, I often think about things in terms of like health bars and stuff like that, right? Like your mana and like, yeah. All right, you got a question? Because I didn't realize that one was not a question.
Yeah. Well, I have it here. What's the best technique / process to get a group of high school athletes in a winning state and peak winning state and peak performance?
Ooh. All right.
I mean,
I don't think there's a best, probably.
Yeah, so what my coaches did was yell at us a lot and play movies for us, which will go back to your whole movies are so great thing. Gosh.
Sarcasm is greatly appreciated.
I know. So good. So your sarcasm is so good. But they play, whether it's they played, Rudy or any kind of those kinds of like team overcoming the thing, and we'd sit there and be like, yeah, cool, right? Or I remember we watched a Clint Eastwood movie. Oh God, it was called, I don't remember, but he was like an army movie. Whereas like he was a gunnery sergeant and they all had to charge the hill or some kind of thing. It was like, go, sacrifice for the team and all this stuff. We're like, yeah. Or just throw on some Metallica, Master of Puppets. Just fucking. So that's what we did.
So the first two things I was going to say were metaphors and anchoring, which that's exactly what you were doing there. Is a movie is a metaphor that elicits a certain state and also an anchor, especially if it's a movie you've seen before or whatever, like musical cues and things like that.
I think the other thing, going there first is also a coach's real job.
Good one.
Good one. We had a time sophomore year. We were like down at the half and we had like undefeated season. And our coach was like red-faced monster to begin with. he just gets us in there. He goes, yeah, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. Such and such. He's gonna get a pick. Omar's gonna run it back for a touchdown, and this is gonna be the whole fucking thing. And we're like, whoa, okay, let's go. And what he said happened. It was crazy. We're like, fucking the thing he said is what happened. We're like, how is this? What? So it's because he went there. He definitely went there first. Probably had a heart attack.
So what's the best technique? Be a good hypnotist. So good hypnotist means you go first. Get into rapport. So build rapport with your group of people. And if you're the coach, like you've got time to do that. But if you're just coming in to do a Tony Robbins style motivational speech, you got to build rapport as quickly as you need to. Get everybody on board with you and then go first. And then tell a metaphor, do some anchoring. I mean, some of the simplest ones, give people a power move is what Tony calls them, or you can do some kind of visualization process. Another thing I'd add to that, just to bring in a little Alexander Lowen as well, is I don't know how often people do this, but if I was in that situation, I would probably do, and I actually did do this one time. I got a chance to work with a burgeoning young protege tennis player. He was like 15 years old, but he was climbing the ranks. And we got flown in by his extremely wealthy parents to go and work with them. And one of the things that I brought to the table that no one had ever done with them before was breath work. And that's a really profound way to like clear the mind, presence your consciousness in your body, to shift your state. And it's also something you could do very quickly. And it's something you can anchor then. So you can get them into a profoundly altered state where they're feeling like they're 10 feet tall and like everything is out of their mind. And then you can anchor that state. So you can do breath work to elicit that altered state, anchor it, clear the screen, do smell popcorn, break their state, do it again, do the breath work again, anchor it again, and get it to the point where they can hit that anchor and they go into a place where normally it takes 10 minutes of breath work to get there. That's a really cool trick.
Nice.
Because it's almost like giving them some kind of performance enhancing drug and then anchoring that.
Right. Yeah. All right.
Not that I'm necessarily recommending
that. And cheerleaders. That'll do it too.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay, well, we did it.
We did it.
We did one question this time.
Yeah, sure.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, any other thoughts, comments?
No, other than my quote that I made up for myself today.
Oh, yeah. Drop that at the end.
Which is, whether you think you can or you think you can't, shut the fuck up and do something about it. Like, I don't just either think you can or think you can't, or like try and learn something that you can do something you can't do, or don't do something you can't. I don't care. Just shut the fuck up and do something about it.
Don't you have a t-shirt line? Like,
I do.
Add that one to your list.
Yes.
That's a good t-shirt right there.
Yes.
I like it.
Okay. Well, peace,
love, and
NLP.
Ooh. See you later, folks.
Later, buddy.
Bye.